your butts.
Hello, everybody. Glad we finally got that figured out. Jesus Christ. I'm so bad at this.
I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing at us.
You can laugh at me. It's okay. I earned it.
Oh, okay. Good to know.
Yeah.
Hi, everyone.
Yeah, hi, everyone who's in the comments. Thank you for tuning in. Yeah, little technical difficulties, which happened a lot during the prayer to end atheism earlier, by the way.
Oh, did you did. You mentioned that on a TikTok. So how'd that go? Do talk about that.
That was an absolute shit show. Like
I imagine.
The first 10 minutes was just technical difficulties. Like it started 10 minutes late. And then like all throughout it, he had connection issues and it was skipping a lot. It was weird. It's like, it's a Facebook Live video. It shouldn't be that difficult. But it's one guy, the founder or creator or whatever the fuck you want to call him. And he went on this like diatribe for like 10 minutes about how bad atheism is and how they're the cause for all the evil in the world. And they just want to sin and they're nihilistic and they do drugs and shit like that. And then he prayed for like 30 seconds. And that's pretty much it, like a 30-second prayer. And then he went back and continued just trash talking atheism. Like, so
you're a believer now, right?
No, not quite. I'm a slightly more aggressive non-believer now because of that. So it kind of had the opposite effect.
Isn't it weird how when people attack other people's cultures or belief systems, they get a little upset?
Right? Weird.
That's so strange.
So weird.
Such a strange thing.
Yeah.
I can't imagine why.
Yeah, I was in the comments and I was like, hey, have you actually had a conversation with a real atheist instead of just painting them all with the same nihilistic brush and lumping them all into the same category? Like,
I want to know his actual definition of atheism.
Yeah,
I want to know its exact definition, and then I want to compare it to the definition.
It got me a little heated. But he did not have very much support in the comments. It was almost entirely atheists that were making. Someone posted the Ezekiel 34 quote. She lusted after her lovers whose genitals were like donkeys and whose emissions were like horses. Like, they posted that in there. And then someone's like, what do you mean we hate God? We don't hate unicorns because they don't exist. So we don't hate God either because we don't believe he exists.
Actually, I would argue unicorns are more likely to exist
than
God in many ways. In fact, there was a TikTok I came across today that has been proven. It was a sheep. It was a male sheep. I don't know what the male sheep would be. A ram. I was about to say a billy, but it's a ram.
Yeah.
And it's not growing horns out of the side of the head, but it does have one coming out the middle. And I was like, there you go. Unicorn.
Boom.
Bah.
Some more evidence for unicorns than there is God.
So much so.
It's completely observable.
Absolutely.
You can go to a petting zoo and probably find one.
Are dangerous
dragons?
Oh, that's a dragon. Are dangerous dragons more likely to exist?
Not dangerous dragons, just dragons.
I mean, just
you're adding a word in there for some reason.
Okay. I don't know. So dyslexia. Are
Bold
dragons
of you
more
to
likely to
assume
exist?
Dragons are dangerous. Feels racist somehow.
Racist? No. Speciesist? Maybe.
Speciesist. Tomato.
Dragons likely to exist. The reason why dragons exist in our minds and in modern culture and ancient cultures is simply because fossils have existed for the entirety of humanity. You come across a T-Rex skull, you come across any sort of dinosaur with teeth that look the way they do, because I can tell you right now, there's not a whole lot of things living right now with the same teeth and structure of jaw that you can that existed back then, and they have to come up with these reasons why these things exist. Otherwise, there's a whole lot of fear that gets passed around. It's a cultural taboo not to make something of what they found. So
Yeah, anytime they discovered any sort of like ancient relic, they would develop lore around them, which is kind of how Sodom and Gomorrah came around. And like Christians like, oh, we have these sulfur deposits that is proof that Sodom and Gomorrah actually happened. Like, no, they discovered those remains of a lost civilization or lost city, and then they developed folklore around that.
Yeah, helps that there's geothermal activity around there too.
Well, they didn't have any knowledge of that at that time.
Hot air.
Yeah.
You're watching the second God debate today?
What's the second God debate?
I don't know what the second God debate is.
What's the first God debate?
I don't know. I'm guessing it's the one between Ken Ham and not Neil deGrasse Tyson and Bill Nye.
There's a lot of God debates, though.
There are a lot of God debates. Can you talk about your view of the resurrection?
Oh.
I'm gonna let you have this one.
All right. So, where do I even start? So, one, of course, the resurrection is the least likely alternative. There's all these other theories about how if Jesus' body went missing, which it didn't, spoiler alert, Jesus' body was buried in a mass grave, which was common at the time. Sometimes they would leave it up to be picked apart by scavengers as a deterrence from other likewise aspiring criminals. And they would be left up for a few days, a week, 2 weeks, something like that. Or they would take it down after a few days and throw it into a mass grave. Since his disciples believed he was buried and resurrected, since they believed he resurrected or saw visions, they likely would not believe that he was still up on the cross decaying and then have visions of his resurrection. So that would lead us to believe he most likely was buried in a mass grave. They were never, ever taken down and given an honorable burial in a tomb. That's not something they did. There is no historical, archaeological evidence that ever happened.
I wouldn't say never, but because there isn't any evidence, then we can say that there has not been evidence to support that claim. I would not say never, though, because there's always an exception to the rule. But me saying that, don't think that me saying that means that I believe that Jesus was treated accordingly, because he wasn't.
Right.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying if Roman emperors came in, or Roman people came in, decided to crucify someone that was important to a certain culture, then that person would probably be treated with either more disrespect or less disrespect, depending on, their whole outlook. And they could have been buried because the culture of that area wanted to support this one person, whereas Jesus was an outcast. So he would not have been treated with this kind of respect as like a town mayor or ruler would that had been overthrown.
The burial narrative, which is of Joseph of Arimathea, which is mentioned in all four Gospels. Joseph of Arimathea begged Pilate for the body of Jesus so that he could bury him in the tomb, right? The exact same story is in Genesis chapter 21. Joseph begs the king for the body of his father so he can bury it in a tomb that he dug for himself. It's the exact same story. They don't even change the name. It's Joseph in Genesis 21 and in the Gospels. The only difference is Joseph of Arimathea, even though Arimathea is not a real place. We have no archaeological evidence of Arimathea being a real place. It's like a general term for like holy land or something like that, but it's not an actual city. It's just a title attached to his name. On top of that, there are all these theories about if assuming he was buried and his body went missing. There's theories about, you probably heard his body was stolen, or he never actually died on the cross. He woke up and then escaped himself. Or the Samaritans believed that Jesus had a twin brother and they saw his twin brother walking around. And that's how the resurrection myth came around. And those explanations sound crazy, but they are more likely than Jesus resurrecting from the dead. So to say that all those things couldn't possibly have happened, thus the resurrection is the most likely explanation, is by definition an argument from incredulity. It doesn't make sense. So no, the resurrection, and this shit falls apart when it comes to like Gary Habermas. He is the number one authority on the resurrection. He has the 4 minimal facts theories, and one of them is like, we know Jesus was crucified. We don't know that. We don't know that. We know he resurrected. We don't know he resurrected. We have no eyewitness testimonies of Jesus resurrecting. 0. Peter, we have some maybe writings of Peter. We don't. But the Gospels of Peter were not written by him. But Christians assume they were. But Peter doesn't really have any writings attributed to his name. So he is the only person that we know that lived during Jesus' time. He doesn't write anything about the resurrection. Paul is the very first person. And he writes the first, like, Thessalonians is like the first thing, the first Christian document written by Paul, by anybody. Doesn't talk about the resurrection. 1 Corinthians doesn't talk about the resurrection except 1 Corinthians 15, which is, it doesn't even mention a bodily resurrection. He said he received everything he knows through visions and what was taught to him, or documents, a creed. And Christians will cling on to this very hard, like, oh, there is a creed that we don't have. This must have been a very early attestation to the resurrection of Jesus. No, it wasn't. We don't know that. We have no. That's just a blind assertion that they make. There's no reason to believe that whatever creed is talking about what came a week after Jesus' death or a week before Paul wrote that. And there's a 20-year difference between the two. We have no idea. So that argument falls apart very quickly. So anyway, all I have to say, yeah, I don't think there's an actual resurrection of Jesus. Do you have anything to add, Nat?
No, I'm all for it. I was reading some of the comments, and I noticed that there was a comment made by Correa, who mentions that it was punishable by death. I think she means that it was punishable by death to break the seal of a tomb in Roman culture.
Yes,
but I don't.
Accurate.
Yeah, I was going to say, but I don't. Well, the issue with that is in the story, isn't it, that they come in and they like complain, blah blah blah, say that he's alive, and then like soldiers come in and break the tomb and open it, or is the tomb opened?
No, the tomb's already open.
Okay, but, so then heads would be rolling. Like anyone who was like witness to this would have been.
Yeah, that grave robbery was a capital offense. We have records of this. If you robbed a grave, that was punishable by death. So Jesus' body went missing, let's say. The first people to be interrogated by Roman officials would be his family and then his disciples. We have no records of those. That never happened. The idea that, his body just went missing and everyone's just like, yeah, okay. No. It's kind of like when the story of when Jesus went and ransacked the temple in Matthew, like he would have been arrested on the spot by Roman soldiers, but he wasn't. Everyone's just like, like, no, that you don't just.
It was character development for the story, okay?
Exactly.
He can't have been arrested because the character had to make it through.
Yeah, shit like that just doesn't happen.
Control your children.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I saw Postit Malone. I'm not going to block him yet.
Yet is the key word. We're waiting for something.
Yeah. So this guy on Twitter started coming after me. He's an atheist. He's a conservative atheist.
Those do exist.
They do. But he came out of nowhere. Hey, dragons.
Hey, dragons.
He came out of nowhere and was like, I love your content, but your political stance does not have the same scrutiny. Like out of nowhere, just said that. And I was like,
okay.
I responded. I was like, I don't do a lot of political commentary. There's other people who do that way better than I do.
But did you ask him why he believed this?
No.
Huh.
So he was like, oh, well, I'm an atheist conservative. Again, just out of nowhere, just putting his neck out there. I didn't ask. I could.
Thanks for telling us, dude. Yeah.
So I was like, all right, well, then you're part of the problem for multiple reasons. And I went on his page and he peddles a bunch of like anti-vaxxing shit. And he was like, "How so?" I haven't responded. I don't think I'm going to. Like, hey, how about stop trying to tell people not to get the vaccine? That's a good start.
There's a post that Chelsea Hart put up today where she duetted another woman that's in Canada.
He called me mentally unstable. Where?
I guess on Twitter.
Oh, I might actually move.
Well, if he did that, then yeah, block him.
I mean, yes, I am mentally unstable. That is accurate.
But using it as an insult is not okay.
However, comma. He's not wrong, but how dare you, sir?
It's like when someone says that my outlook on life is depressing. Thank you. You're not wrong. I didn't need you to bring it up, though. It's a little insulting.
How observant of you.
Cool to see Aaron Raw on the show the other day. Discovered his channel in the early days of YouTube, and he got me hooked on science. I hope to see you guys in another episode. We hope to see him in another episode. In fact, there is a plan to get him into, what is it, whiskey and cigars? Whiskey and cigar night?
Yeah, whiskey, scotch, and cigars on
whiskey, scotch, and cigars on
Tang, the Atheist Network group.
So
if you're unfamiliar, if you're unfamiliar with Oz, who is the other person who was a guest, he runs the Atheist Network group with a few other people, Pasta Mike, Murder Shed Steve, a couple others. We have a monthly whiskey, scotch, and cigars night. It's me, him, Dave Warnock, Jeff, the Atheist Troll's been on there. Biddy Buddha's been on there. But he wants to have Aaron Raw on the next installment.
And Aaron Raw said yes. Now the trick is just timing. That's it. Yeah. And if you really do want to support Aaron Raw, go to his Patreon, because that is literally his only source of income right now. So yeah, that's the way he goes.
Yeah, we missed the last episode of Whiskey, Scotch, and Cigars. I'm not sure why.
Oz is having some personal things.
Yeah, Oz. Yeah, that's why.
Yeah,
Oz had some very understandable personal issues.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah,
when is the next whiskey and cigar night? 2-3 weeks from now. 2 weeks from now.
Is there something
the end
scheduled?
Of August? Not officially, but we know what week it would be. It's the last week in the month. So
yeah, I wouldn't bank too much on that.
Yeah. Okay. It's like, I don't know. I get told that a bunch. You know what would be really cool is if we could get Aaron Raw to show up to Better. That would have been really cool.
Better?
The event that's happening in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Yeah.
Yeah.
If we could get Aaron Raw to like carpool up, that would be freaking amazing. Especially since we have Seth Andrews there. Like, I would love to get. What?
Are you coming to that?
I'm gonna try. I'd like to.
Yeah, I'm trying very hard.
I have to see where my projects will put me and if I'm in that realm of the country.
I have to pull 2 days of childcare out of my ass to make it happen, but
that is tricky.
Very hard. Yeah, it is.
But that's when you call in the grandparents, right?
Oh yeah, that's part of the thing. Is like the only my mom has like a spinal problem and she can't make the drive all the way up here. It's a 5-hour drive.
That's a bit.
So it's this whole thing, but I'm gonna try to work some hocus pocus magic and make it happen.
It's in Fort Wayne, Indiana. I can send you the link on Discord, and you can check it out.
Or you can go to the Tang Discord, and there's a whole server dedicated just to it.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, I just slammed my thumb into something. I think I need to pop it back out. I did this earlier, but like it's hurting now.
You need to pop your thumb back out? What?
Yeah, I did something earlier. That was probably some sketchy shit, and I'm pretty sure like I twisted my thumb the wrong way, and I need to like crack it and pull it back out. Anyway, doesn't matter. I'm in pain. It does nothing to worry about. I just can't bend my thumb right now.
Just a little pain. Whatevs.
It's no big deal. Don't worry about it.
My body can't perform its natural functions. No big deal.
No big deal. Oh. Yeah, I know, Correa. You wanna carpool with me, but I'm saying if we carpool, The trick is if I'm on a project and I can make it, I may not be in the area to carpool with you. That's the trick.
Yeah,
I might be like in Southern Illinois or something already.
Because you don't get a whole lot of notice as to where they need you, right?
No, like next to none.
It's pretty much last minute. Yeah.
I normally get 12 to 24 hours, but the shortest notice I've gotten before was 5 hours to say, hey, pack your gear and meet up here. And I was like, this is okay. Yeah. Yeah, no, the time to do some sketchy shit doodah was definitely what happened with the thumb. Yeah.
Anyway, you guys have any questions in the comments?
Some reservations to get done before. You know, I had a discussion with my mother today.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
How'd that go?
Oh, it was interesting. It wasn't like, I won't get into the details of it, but you know how like every now and then you're just like, yeah, I want to talk to my mom. Like you just want to call her up and say hi and stuff, right? Turned into a consultation and a advice column. And I was like, oh, my emotions. What do you do that has me bounce around there? I am a geoarchaeologist. Specifically, I am a geology technician for a environmental consultant agency that gets hired out by multiple other companies, mostly energy based, that have projects that go on throughout the country year round. But those projects literally, like once we get the fund, like once we get signed on to a project, we'll be like, yeah, we're going to go and do that. But we have to wait until SHPO and a few other companies sign off on permits, and we have to like contact owners and that kind of thing. And then we can pop into their property. But sometimes what we do is we get a permit and it's like, yeah, you have a permit for 2 weeks and then they're going to start construction. And you're just like, time to go. Read the messages, Nat. Okay, I'm going back and I'm reading the messages. What?
What messages?
I don't know. Dustin just yelled at me in the chat to read the messages.
Is it on Discord?
No. On the podcast.
There's no messages.
I don't know.
Did I miss
Well, I mean the comments. That's what he's saying. Not messages, but comments. What do you mean read the messages now? Dustin, you're full of crap. I've been reading the whole time.
Yeah, right. I'm lost.
I may or may not have told him about this. Do you want to talk about this? I feel like it's funny, but
if you want, shit.
I totally will. I mean, I am not afraid to drag this guy through the mud if I have to.
It can't be much weirder than reading, Sonic fan fiction. So and anything can happen on Thursday night shows.
I mean, yeah. Yeah, okay, so background information. I'm on Bumble. Now I've told everyone this. I'm going to go ahead and get off Bumble. But the background information is simply this. I matched with someone, I want to say a few weeks ago, and I said hi to them, and they were like in town because I live in a tourist town, so like they're here for like a minute and then they're gone, which is totally normal. What do you mean, Correa? You know exactly what I'm talking about with Sonic fan fiction. Anyway, but he started messaging me after he left town, which I was already like, meh. And I literally sent verbatim all of the pictures of this text message, or all the pictures of these messages straight to Ricky, and I think he got a good chuckle out of it.
I did.
But I guess this guy got drunk one night and decided to start texting me, and the messages were like, "Are you a born again Christian?" type messages. So as I look this up and try to bring it up, I without further ado, I will read you the messages, which you have to give me a second because it gets a little scattered there. But I felt like I was being a really nice atheist, and you know what? Spoiler alert: he's the one that swears, not me. So,
babe, you should come read this.
Has she read these yet?
No. I'm talking about the Postit Malone, the guy.
Oh, okay. Well, then I guess I'll just start.
Yeah, keep going.
Reading. Okay, so the guy's name is Aaron. I will openly admit that this guy's name is Aaron. I don't know very much about him. I know That's his name. And I know that he was in Branson a few weeks ago. That's the extent to which I know this person. But yeah, he got drunk one night and he sent me a message and he's like, "Are you born again?" Wait, no, that's too personal. And I was like, "Born again? In what way?" And he says, "The Lord, he is our king." And I was like, well, no, you see, I'm an atheist. That's the problem. So it was nice meeting you. And I thought it was going to be done. I was wrong. He says, "Not a problem at all. Sorry, I had a bit too much wine last night." I then said, "Yes, drinking the blood of the king. LOL." As one does, because I guess that's what you do. He says, "That's funny. Do you know the king?" I said, "I know him, but I don't see a reason to follow him. He himself says not to worship him." Then the reply was, "I do. You are speaking of something different. I asked because we can talk on a different level." Now, first off, I don't know what level he's talking about, but I am not interested in this. So I tried to change the subject. I was like, wait. Are you talking about Elvis? He says, "LOL, no. It helps my conversation if you have been born again, at least to get a toe in the pool." Not entirely sure what toe he's talking about. And I don't know. I don't want to be anywhere near this pool, this baptism pool.
There it is.
Then I messaged him. I said, "Nothing has ever occurred in Branson." You're right. You're not wrong. Anyway, I say, then there's no misinterpretation. Jesus, whose name was actually Oily Josh, which was misinterpreted by multiple translators, stated in his preachings not only to not worship false idols, but also not to worship him himself. Then I said Christianity is based around the worship of Jesus, the Father, and the Holy Ghost. And this guy's like, yeah, that's his enemy talking. And I was like, "Oh, Satan." "Okay, tell me who you think Satan is." And he said, "I know him too." I said, "He's a nice guy." He said, "He can suck my cock." I shit you not, that's what he said. And I was like, "Well, only if you ask him." To which he replied, "I can point you in the right direction." And immediately I was like, this is not a Christian man. This guy does not know what he's talking about. But then he goes ahead and says, "My king never leaves us empty." And I was like, Satan is an entity created to make people fear. He is the boogeyman, as Captain Deadpool says, a scapegoat for bad behavior, and a god. And God is just a concept created to give some form of comfort to those who have grieved, or those who grieve lives lost. It's all a ploy to dictate emotions and actions throughout a person's life. I believe in being a good person without the need to worship anything, just being a decent human being. He then says, "Satan is real!" with like a big exclamation point. "But he's a bitch." And he's like, "And it doesn't work that way." I was like, okay, well, let the boogeyman scare you into behaving differently. I own up to my decisions without the assistance of metaphysical beings. He then says, "I'm not sure why I'm texting you. I have a business to run. If you haven't met our Father, that makes this conversation difficult." I said, "Okay, well, I agree. You have a good life, Ken Ham." He then replied. He said, "Grab an old Bible." I said, "I've read the oldest. I'm an archaeologist." He then says, "Grab a new one." And then he asked, "You dig in dirt and haven't met him?" Capital H. And I said, "Oh, I was introduced young, but realized very quickly that it was all a bunch of pretty lies." And he's like, "There are lies, but once you met him, it is clear and it is fun." I said, "What's fun about fearing God?" He says, "Fear. There is no fear." I then said, "Try reading the Bible sometime. It mentions fearing God on multiple occasions. That he is both jealous and non-jealous, and that he does not condone murder, but then commits genocide. If you believe in him, you are not truly reading your own message." I'll grab a middle-aged Bible. I love it. Anyway, so it continues. Get this. This entire time I'm trying to get him to stop texting me, and it's not working.
No,
so I then said, or then he replied, he says, "I read his word, 30,000 hours of it, and I am 30 times more in love with him." I then reply, Then what are you doing on a dating app? Go be in love with your imaginary sky god. Then he said, I am not reading my own message. And I said, obviously. And then he replied, touche. I thought that was the end. He has texted me 12 times since then. I have not sent you those replies, but because I haven't replied at all. But he has sent he just keeps like every day he sends a
more
message
that I haven't seen.
Yes, yeah.
Oh, that's fun.
No, yeah, and they're all the same shit. They're just like, if you're mad, if you're angry, you can talk to me. Feel free to discuss things with me. Like I give no judgment. No, I did reply to that one. I was like, but God does. And so I was very much yeah, I was out. So that was my adventures in dating. And then people ask me why I'm single. Nah. Now I have to read your messages, everybody's comments on this. Heard about Oily Josh from Crimson Burial. Is he right? Would you like to explain why Oily Josh is a correct term? To an extent.
It's
the anointed Josh, and he's anointed with oil, so he is Oily Josh.
Yeah, kind of like it's not really a literal interpretation of his name. It's just kind of like a fun way you can interpret it.
So he's Oily Josh anyway.
Yeah.
Why don't I unmatch with him? I want to see how desperate he gets. I am absolutely curious. That's the only reason why I haven't unmatched him. He's there. I'm ignoring him, but he just keeps sending shit. So color me curious. It's more, this is now becoming like a people watching experience, but it's definitely Josh. His name is Joshua. Yes. Definitely. Ricky.
Yeah. Wait. Yeah. Joshua. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, no, I say Oily Josh, but yes, it's Joshua. That's the actual translation. From.
And was originally supposed to be Emmanuel, but
which is why there's a bunch of hymnals that actually call him Jesus Emmanuel. It just should be Emmanuel, but whatever. Dustin says it's the best translation. You're right. Anyway, sorry. So that was that little adventure. Okay, Dustin, I read the messages.
I'm changing my my channel description.
I hated the anointing oil. That shit sticks to the forehead forever. Being Catholic sucked.
Wow, why did I put Wednesday? It's Thursday.
I don't know why you put. I mean, you did. I guess the very first time you went live, it was a Wednesday.
Maybe. Oops.
Yeah, Dustin, that's what they assume, is that they changed it to Jesus to distinguish him, but it's not. I mean, there's more to it besides just changing the name itself. There's other Joshes in the Bible, so it's kind of hard.
And there's other Jesuses mentioned by Josephus, who are other messianic figures. Jesus ben Sahir, Jesus ben Padir, Jesus ben Sahar, the Egyptian. There's like 6 or 7 messianic figures altogether. What?
The Egyptian Jesus. Yeah. I'm just enjoying that name.
Which Paul was accused of being that Egyptian in Acts, which is weird.
I didn't know that.
But the Egyptian, like this Egyptian had like a following. He was a messianic figure, and he disappeared. And so Paul was accused of being that Egyptian in Acts, and Paul had to be like, "No, that's not me. That's another guy." I'd have to look up the scripture. It's very interesting. But yeah,
it is an interesting subject for sure.
Yeah, I used to always have a little thing of anointing oil in my backpack, like in school and church, just in case I had to fucking anoint somebody because I was fucking stupid.
I mean, I carry acid at all times out in the field.
That's for different reasons.
You're right.
Now I carry
acid.
See, now I carry baby oil everywhere I go for different reasons.
Because you have kids.
No, not because of that.
Oh. Oh gosh.
Just kidding. I'm being weird.
I don't think you're being. I think you were serious.
It is good for getting rid of tar. It's also good for getting rid of, aches that the wife has from work.
There was a version of where Mary had sex with a Roman soldier and he was the father of Jesus. Is that a theory or is that a book? Or
yeah, where's that at?
In the comments, it's dragons.
Yeah, I see dragons. I'm unfamiliar with that text.
Ah.
I know there's all kinds of later lore surrounding the virgin birth or the birth of Jesus, but originally Christians did not believe Jesus was born of a virgin. That was added later. Paul never mentions a virgin birth, and neither does Mark, the earliest gospel. Matthew and Luke are the first ones to talk about a virgin birth. It's never mentioned before that.
Did you happen to see that TikTok or that painted Mary in the light of the tribal outfit and jewelry that she would have probably been wearing at the time?
Oh yeah, I did.
Yeah, first off, she's gorgeous.
Yeah, it's very good.
But I was discussing this with someone, and Dustin was there, and he just mentioned this, that Mary was probably heavily pierced and probably wore tons of jewelry. Well, yes, there are reasons for that. Dowry type reasons, and there's a lot of cultural norms that go with it. But in that area, when you were owned, I'm just going to use that term, when you were owned by a man or set to be owned by a man, when you leave your family, you were given jewelry to protect yourself. And the reason why you're given jewelry, gold, silver, things like that, not only does it label you as a woman that has married to a wealthy man, but it also prevented you from getting kidnapped or stolen in the off chance that your husband was to die, because then you would be able to pay your own dowry to marry into another wealthy family should you lose your husband. It's more complicated than that, but that's the main reasons why you would see a lot of jewelry and a lot of dyeing of skin in that area.
Is she going to Paul? Anyway,
Damius is a great last name.
Jesus ben Padir or Jesus ben Damius. Yeah. Although that was yeah, Jesus ben Padir was predated Jesus, and I think Jesus ben it was I think it was the Egyptian that came shortly after Jesus' death. Jesus ben Padir was, I'm getting them mixed up. There's a few of them. One of them was kidnapped or abducted by the Roman soldiers, and then interrogated, and they flogged him and determined he was insane, and they let him go. And then he was crushed by a boulder in the War of the Jews.
Oh, rock beats paper.
Yeah, rock beats Messiah.
I mean, rock beats scissors, but rock also beats soldiers, which means that rock definitely beats paper. Rock beats all. Can one of you speak on Calvinism versus other Christian brands?
Yeah, I'm staying away from that.
You're going to stay away from that one?
No. Sorry.
Oh, I was like, I don't feel comfortable discussing Calvinism because it's a moot point.
Calvinism holds to the core of Calvinist doctrine is they go by the acronym TULIP, total depravity, irresistible grace, limited atonement. I forget I, and P is perseverance of the saints. What is I? Shit, TULIP.
I'm Googling it.
Look that up for me.
I'm finding it.
Maybe. No. Anyway. So, but basically they believe in predestination. Like the 144,000 are predestined.
Irresistible grace. So it's total depravity, unconditional election, limited atonement, irresistible grace, and perseverance of the saints.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I was
close.
Rusty. But yeah, they have the biggest thing that separates them from Protestants is the predestination. They believe that God predestines people to go to heaven and those who go to hell, and they use things like Judas. When Jesus said, "The one who betrays me, it would be better if that he will never be born, or he would have never been born." That is predestination. Like God created Judas for the purpose of betraying Jesus and going to hell. Like God created Judas with a purpose that would send him to hell.
Which
So they
means
use that
really
to justify that.
nothing you do in life can prevent you from either going to hell or heaven because it's all predetermined.
Exactly.
So what's the
Yeah,
point?
they're very black and white about it. Yep.
Yep.
Um,
Um, I guess she said versus Christian brands, but I don't know. Like, are you talking about like Calvinism versus like apologetics, or I don't know what
like Calvinism versus Protestantism. So
Protestant.
there's like
Okay.
there's Calvinism, Protestantism, and Catholicism. There's kind of like three different sides of the same coin.
Tis the Trinity of failure.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's
Pretty much.
probably not okay.
The Orthodox Trinity, or not Orthodox, because that means
The unorthodox Trinity.
truth. But yeah, they have very differing views, claiming to be from the same religion.
So you've been okay. So the reason why she asked this was because she was getting beat down by a Calvinist lately, who claims that he was a superior Christian. Well, they all do, darling. They all do. They all think that they're superior Christians because they understand that they were literally created to either go to heaven or hell, and that's that.
Calvinists are the ones who hang out.
Calvinists are the elves. Hell yeah, they do. No, if you actually read Calvin and Hobbes, there are some excellent philosophical questions that they pose, and they go into no detail describing them, which is great. I love Calvin and Hobbes. I loved Calvin and Hobbes to an extent that I have the entire Calvin and Hobbes collection, special edition. Hold on, I'm grabbing this. Ugh.
Within arm's reach, apparently. Jesus.
Within arm's reach. I love Calvin and Hobbes. But yeah, it's the total full edition. And I think I have the signature of the author too, if I'm not mistaken. Hold on.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. One of the pages somewhere. I have Bill Watterson's signature somewhere. It's in one of them. I don't normally get this out very often. I don't even use it to read it. I have it because I love Calvin and Hobbes. Anywho, moving on. Put that back in. Put that back.
Oh man.
Cat lady, hello.
Cat lady. Oh hey.
Supposedly occurred or an Exodus.
What's that? Hi.
So.
Holy fuck nuggets.
Holy fuck nuggets.
What did I miss that warranted that reaction?
I think it's the book, me hoisting the book
up.
Oh,
yeah.
So, holy fuck nuggets. Yes. I don't think Dragons realized he stumbled into one of my nerdy things. Your respect for me went up just because I own the complete editions of Calvin and Hobbes?
I mean...
Would your respect have gone down if I said I owned like a complete edition of a sketch by like Walt Disney? I mean, my respect for me would go down if I did that, but that's for a whole other reason.
Oh man.
You should have I Blame Bill, Queen Vashti from TikTok on sometimes. She was a Calvinist.
Wait, I Blame Bill.
Yeah.
I
didn't know she was a Calvinist. I didn't know she was a Calvinist. If she follows you, you should just follow her back and send her a message. Dustin would like to know if there are any games that you are looking forward to coming out.
Yes.
What games are those?
Bill is Calvinist?
I guess she was previously.
She was previously. Okay. Yeah, we follow each other. I couldn't remember.
Shoot her a message. Let's get her scheduled sometime.
Yeah, maybe. Games I'm looking forward to coming out. Yes, Stray. I am super looking forward to that.
Can you
right?
tell me about that game? I know nothing about games, so
You
this is
are
me
a
actually
stray
interviewing.
cat.
I'm a stray cat.
You
Oh, it's the cat game.
yeah, it's the
I've
cat
seen a
game.
few videos of this where like you
Yeah,
literally are a stray cat and like your
yeah.
goal is to either get adopted or survive.
It's a survivor something like you live in this like post-apocalyptic like and androgynous humanoid world. Like there's no people, but everyone's like robots. They're robotic people. So you solve puzzles, you interact with them, and you get like a little drone that helps you solve puzzles and stuff, and you carry its like charger on your back or something. But you're just a fucking stray cat that wanders around a post-apocalyptic wasteland,
It's
and
like
that's
Red
all I
Dead
need to know.
Redemption, but
That's
as a
all I need
cat.
to know. I'm all about that.
Chaotic Goose. I enjoy it. You guys
Yeah.
play MT what's MTG?
Um, what is MTG?
Minecraft.
Yeah, she does Atheist Sunday School.
Oh, oh.
No, it doesn't come out till like October. No, late October, I think. Maybe I'm wrong. Breath of the Wild 2 is not out yet. I'm super looking forward to that.
I watched a friend of mine get the Breath of the Wild, the first one, and I watched him go through and play the whole game in one day. just just popcorn, just watching him play.
It is such a good game. Oh my god, such a good game. I actually had it, and then like I lost
Oh,
my
Magic the
Nintendo.
Gathering. Yes.
Oh yeah,
Did you used to play
yeah.
Magic the
No,
Gathering?
I never have.
So I did not play competitively. I have a deck. It's a trick deck. That was built by a friend of mine who was a competitive player. Fun fact: I am related to someone who is, or was, I guess, I think he was number 3 for 2 years, and then number 6 for like 4 years after that. Like he's been in the top 10 for a chunk of time in the Northwest as one of the better players. But yeah, I just have a trick deck somewhere. I haven't played in a long time though. Played into it's competitive. Oh, you're hooked on. Yeah, it is a bit addicting. You want to know what's more addicting? Pokemon. But Pokemon is literally based off of Magic the Gathering. If you've ever looked at the cards, it's very much a base ground.
You talking about the card game, or you talking about Pokemon Go?
I'm talking about Pokemon, the card game. It is definitely based off of Magic the Gathering. Now, Pokemon Go is a whole other thing, and honestly, I'm really proud of the fact that Nintendo's been able to keep it up for 5 years straight. Like, that's impressive.
Yeah. And they keep adding to it. It keeps getting better and better.
Yeah, I got hooked on it again recently, and I'm just like confused. I'm just like, there's so much to it. Yeah. Also, you haven't opened any of my gifts, so
I don't open gifts.
Why?
Because I get like hundreds of them at a time, and they're so time consuming.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Open them all.
I have like 10 friends. That's it.
Oh yeah, see, I have like 60 or 70 friends.
Oh yeah, well there you go.
No, because I was hyper obsessed with it before I joined TikTok. That's what I did. Is I played Pokemon Go, and Rachel and I still do. Like we'll go to Gettysburg just to play Pokemon because that's where you get the best Pokemon at.
Oh, you can get ooh.
Yeah.
I mean, I only recently started playing, and I've only played in Missouri, so I think if I do another road trip coming up, or maybe 2, I'm excited kind of to play when I work, like where I'm gonna be, just to see if I do come across other Pokemon. So
any like key areas you're in, like that you'll find some shit that you won't find anywhere else.
Interesting. I do have like all of the unknowns.
Oh, do you?
So, yeah. That's like just on the unknowns and a lot of the fossil ones, the old fossil Pokemon. Those are all like in my area. Like you see them all the time. So it's weird.
My mom plays it like beyond religiously.
Oh no.
Like she plays it like all day, every day almost. She's like level 45 or something. Which I'm level 36. which to get from
I think I'm
36
26.
to 45 takes like 2 or 3 years.
Are you serious?
Yeah,
Oh my
yeah.
God. Because I'm at 26, but I only started like a month ago.
Well,
But like
you can
it's
level up faster early on.
yeah, that's what
Like
I've
the
noticed.
higher up in level you get, the more it takes to level up.
Goodness.
Yeah.
Would we
Yeah,
ever have a movie night like Tang does? I don't know how movie nights go. Like,
I think we can stream it. Like I think I could do that. Like even now.
that'd be interesting.
I watched that Pray the Gay Away movie on Netflix
Oh, you
recently.
finished it. Okay, I haven't.
Yeah,
I started. I was like 10 minutes in, and then I got busy. So, how?
yeah.
What do you think about it?
It's very good. Um, very emotional, very heart wrenching. One thing I thought was really funny that stood out is they were talking about the program, the Exodus program they were in, and they separated the men from the women, and they had all the women get together and learn how to put on makeup to be more girly, and they put all the men together to play football to learn how to be more manly. And I was like, wait, you put a bunch of lesbians together to get all prettied up in front of each other, and you put all the gay men together
To tackle each
in
other.
a setting where they can,
Touch.
you know, show their athletic prowess and get all hot and sweaty and tackle each other. Like you didn't think that through very well, did you?
There's not a whole lot of thought process that goes in. There's like, what's the normal, typical like gender norm?
Yeah.
But the
Let's
thing
just
is,
make
like,
guys more guily and women more womenly.
the better thing they could have done is have all the lesbians play. Like, it's. I'm not gonna say it's better, but it would have been. I like following their thought processes. It would have made more sense to have all the women play football and all the men play with makeup.
That would make more sense, right?
I don't know if that would make more sense or not, but that's I don't know. That's I retract my statement. Everyone's an individual. That
But it was
it's stupid either
interesting
way.
because in it you have all these prominent figures from like 70s and 80s who were pretty much groomed to be like spokespersons for this organization. They go and do conferences and do interviews on the news and everything. And like, yeah, I was gay and God completely delivered me from them, and I'm married now and I have kids and blah 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 blah. And then like fast forward to like modern times and they're like, yeah, I spent 10, 20 years like that and I couldn't stop myself any longer. Like, so they started living the gay lifestyle and they left it and they realized how much harm they were causing. And uh, people started telling me, people are committing suicide because of some of the shit you say, right?
Yeah,
Um,
I feel
so
like I
ultimately, it
honestly
got
feel like
shut
they need to be
down.
held, not just them, but whoever taught them or put them through that should be held accountable for some of the actions that are
Well,
committed.
they did this whole like apology tour, like when they were like, "I'm so sorry, I didn't realize the harm I was doing. I was groomed to do this." And like one girl, or one woman said she was uh she became she became a lesbian. That's one thing they taught, is that you become this way because
Become.
of some sort of abuse, right? Psychological or sexual abuse that you endured at your childhood. Even if you don't remember that happening, they're like, oh, you probably just blocked that memory out, but it probably still happened. So there's this whole like brainwashing thing. So there's this one girl who was like raped, and she was like, that's why I became a lesbian, because I was raped and I didn't want anything to do with men. And she didn't want to talk about that. Like, they had her like speak at all these events, and she told her like testimony or whatever you call it, but she didn't talk about that part. Well, they told her, why didn't you talk about you getting raped? And she was like, I'm not comfortable talking about that. I don't want to revisit that memory. And they're like, well, you really should. It helps. And so she did. And she got very, very, very angry and uncomfortable and had to get like more therapy for having to like put that something so personal and traumatic out in the open to so many people. Um,
Good Lord. I mean,
yeah,
talk about that's
it's
just
fucking crazy.
re-traumatizing her all over again.
Yeah,
Have we seen Religulous? Yes, I saw that.
I
God,
have, yes.
that came out years ago, but
Yeah, it's been a minute.
Bill Meyer, right? That was Bill Meyer.
Bill Bill Maher.
Mar. I can never pronounce his name right.
It's
But
very good, except for the part where he starts talking about Jesus is actually Horus, who was born December 25th. Like, no, that is all horribly
that becomes
inaccurate.
part of the zeitgeist. That
Yeah.
becomes part of a
Yeah,
theory
like
that's
that.
not.
And that's like a
That's an
two
entirely
minute.
separate concept.
Yeah, that's like a 2 minute portion of the entire movie, or the entire documentary. Like, everything else is fine. Everything else is really good, but that 2 minutes, I'm just like, oh, I'm cringy because
Yeah.
it's very false. Yeah.
Did either of us go to Jesus camp back in the day? Did you ever go to Jesus camp? I went to Jesus camp.
I was. It wasn't. I did a few things. I don't know if you call it Jesus camp. I did something one summer where I was a leader at the church, and it was like a martyrdom camp. And basically, what you did is they took all of the youth, the Ute, into like the woods, and you went through this path, and there were different like stations, and you were assigned a role, and I was an actor, and I played the role of someone who was supposedly legitimately martyred for their faith, and I told my story to them, and they would go and to the next station, and
it was almost like you were a counselor, but not like a counselor. Like you were an advisor at the camp, but you never went to church camp.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, the Ute.
Them Utes.
The Demon Slayer comes out. See, the Demon Slayer game looks so much like just a recreation of the show. I don't know that I want to play it. I might give it a chance, though. You've probably never seen Demon Slayer, Nat.
Nope.
But it's very good. It's an anime. It's very good.
I'll just put the little asterisks in there. It's like I was raised by a woman that believed that video games caused shootings, so I was very much
one of those. Yeah.
Yeah. My mother, I love her to death. She was a psychologist, and she followed the belief that what you see can become desensitized over time, and she's not wrong in that sense. But at the same time, video games they're puzzles, and she just doesn't. It didn't matter what it was. She didn't like video games. Like, it didn't matter. Like, I mean, if you played Gizmos and Gadgets, she didn't like the fact that my school allowed me to play Gizmos and Gadgets for science. I don't know if you remember that game, but it was like a maze, and you were like this little robot dude that had to build a car or a plane and like race this little bad guy to get the best parts.
Holy shit, that's a blast from the past.
Yeah. Like, Mom, I remember my mom being like, "Did you play Gizmos and Gadgets at school today? I wrote your teacher a note not to let you do that." And I was like,
wow.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I grew up playing Mortal Kombat, which turned out to be bad. I have a collection of like bloody spines.
Oh wow!
Because everyone I didn't like, I just ripped their head off and pulled their spine out.
That makes sense.
Like, it's this problem I have now.
It's just like it's a trigger response. I can only imagine.
It is. It's like second nature to me.
Well, it's why I have all these people's teeth.
Yeah, right.
I saw enough people using the door system to I just convinced people that they had to lose teeth, not that they needed to. So I was just like, yeah, it's really easy. I just, and then I have your tooth.
Oh gosh.
No, I remember playing Pac-Man. Let's see here. I never went to Chuck E. Cheese. I'm actually really grateful that I never went to Chuck E. Cheese, because I went to Chuck E. Cheese once when I was like 10 and was like way overstimulated and really, really scared when I was there. Like, I could not calm down. And like, it was for someone else's birthday, and I was like, nah, fuck this. And I yeeted my ass out the door. I didn't want to be there.
Yeah, it can be overstimulating.
Yeah, oh my God, there's so much. But then, like, I went to a Dave & Buster's recently, and I was like, cool, they have Pac-Man. And I played Pac-Man. And, like, I had no...
God, I haven't been to Dave & Buster's in forever.
Oh, God, it was for a stupid thing. Oh. But, yeah. Also a germ pool. You are correct. But this is pre-COVID. Still germ pool, though.
Yeah.
Teeth for the teeth throne. Bloody spines for the spine god. That's you and me.
Yeah, Smash Brothers. Oh, yeah.
I did play Smash Brothers. I hosted a Smash Brother tournament during a Relay for Life. I think we talked about this before.
Yeah, I told a story about how I won the Smash Brothers tournament for charity.
Yeah.
No big deal.
NBD, yo.
I just went in there. I just massacred everybody.
I told you that it was like an eighth grader that won ours, right?
No,
I think no, it was
you
open
might have.
to the college students, high school students, and there was dads that joined in and their kids played, and like but it was Relay for Life, so we had 24 hours to do this huge thing, and the thing is, it wasn't consistent, so we had like I think we had almost 10 different not Xboxes, 10 different PlayStation centers, and then we had like 6 different GameCube centers. So it was like old classic style, and you had to be able to play back and forth on both of them. And then there were the different levels and different styles of the game. So there was the old ones, the new ones, and you had to be able to beat all of them. And so we just kept mixing and matching people until like the tiers broke them down into like a set of like 16 people, and then from there we went into just the modern game, Smash Brothers, and then because nobody was OP in the newest one, so we used that one. It was the best option. But yeah, it was a blast because yeah.
I had an old school arcade bar. I'd love an old. I had that idea one day. Like, you know, these sports bars, right? Why don't they have like an esports bar?
They
so. It's a bar.
Like an
there is something like that in
they
DC.
Have those.
I looked it up.
Well, there's there's a place called, I think it's called Sports Center, which is, I don't really know, but in Springfield, if Correa is still here, in Springfield they do have a video game bar. It is a pub and grill, but it is video game style, and you can. Now, it's not one of those where you can go rent a table and like play video games. It's like an old fashioned arcade video game thing, but it's a that you play by the hour, not by the amount of games you play, and then you drink. So it's like
I'd love to run a place like that and have like tournaments,
yeah,
Call of Duty tournaments, Smash Brothers tournaments, like one day, and like whatever else the kids are into. Like I don't know, like I have like a retro gaming section. I don't know.
Oh, I
thought about this a lot. We don't need to go into
it. Well, so a friend of mine introduced me to a place in Austin, Texas, which has it's totally a nerd kingdom. It's absolutely amazing, but it's beyond nerd kingdom. It is a coffee/pub bar. So you have a barista in the morning and alcohol at night. Then they have tables that are set up with touch screens, so you can have like Pathfinder, D&D, Warhammer, all these other like games that are normally set up in those styles. They do have arcades in the back room, and then they have these private booths, which are like beanie bag booths, where like you have a carpet and like a sound bubble thing where you can go and sit in these little booths, and you can bring a game, or they can have a game, and you can put it into the TV, and you can play up to 4-player games. So if you want to do like a COD tournament with your friends and you just want to like drink some beers and hang out, but none of you like, let's say all of you have kids that need to go to bed at a certain hour, but you all want to go out for drinks. Well, in that case, you can do both. You can go and play the game at this place. You pay, I think, $10 an hour to have this private booth and have access to the TV, and away you go. It's pretty brilliant, actually. I enjoyed going there. I learned how to play a bunch of new board games when I was there, which was fun. Sinking Island is actually one of my new favorites, if anyone knows what I'm talking about, but
I don't think anyone does. Mm-hmm. Especially not
probably
me.
Probably not.
I only have about 10 more minutes and I'm gonna get off here.
No, I'm with you there. I'm getting tired, but I'm curious, did your moral compass change after realizing you're atheist? Like more accepting towards others that were considered sinful, being cool with people who are pro-choice, etc.?
That's a good question. Like for me, it's like my morality didn't really change, but I was more comfortable with my morality, you know? Like I was never against homosexuality, you know, as a Christian, but I knew I was supposed to be. So like, I don't know. Like I had to try to make myself be unapproving of that lifestyle. And I had a friend who was gay, who lived the straight lifestyle because he was ashamed of it. His name is Luigi. That was actually his name.
That's amazing.
And I was like, oh, I was like, wow, he's so brave and strong for not giving in to his temptations. But inside, I was like, I wish he could just,
He himself.
not be ashamed of who he is. So now I'm like, you're gay, awesome. Like, do you know how fucking happy I would be if like Jagasis was like, hey guys, I got a boyfriend. I'm like, fucking celebration, bitch. Like
Yeah.
I'm allowed to be happy about things like that now. I
Yeah, that's
wasn't before.
excellent.
So it's like I had the same morality back then. I was not allowed to be outwardly, expressive about it. You know?
I can't say that I changed much, and that could be for a good reason or a bad reason. I was very analytical and logical when I was a child, as well as I am now. But when I was in church, I was always being told that I needed to be empathetic, and I can be empathetic and sympathetic. It's not like I don't have that. It's just logically, I didn't like people. Like that was absolutely part of my personality as a child. Like I didn't like other kids. I didn't like people. I didn't like being around them. I was very much an introvert, and I was forced into being an outrovert, an extrovert, but into being outgoing. And I'm outgoing enough now, but I would talk to my pastor and be like, I have bad thoughts, and he'd be like, well, what kind of bad thoughts, my child? What kind of thoughts are you having? And I was just like, I hate people. Did God make me hate people? Like, and he was just like, what do you mean, child? And I was like, I hate being around people. I don't like going to church because there's people everywhere. Like, I don't want to be around people. And this is the type of stuff, like, it was a relief when I found out that I didn't have to be around people and that I was okay, that I hated people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Totally like a minor thing. But yeah, I used to feel super guilty for not being like I was always nice, but I'm not a people person. I'm just not.
Mm.
I thought I was a bad person for that, but I'm not a bad person. I just don't like people. Yes, I have tried Kill Dr. Lucky. That one's also a lot of fun.
What is it?
Kill Dr. Lucky. It's another tabletop game, just like Sinking Island.
I have very little knowledge or experience with tabletop games.
I do
I've just
too.
never had a group of
Or I
friends
did.
that, I could do it with.
Yeah, that's what she said.
But it's
But
nice. Well
no,
done.
okay. So I think if you're okay with this, I'm tired. I think you're tired. We're
Yeah.
doesn't look like there's a whole lot going on in the chats, which is totally fine. So unless there's a question you are dying to ask, send it in the next 30 seconds. Otherwise, we're gonna head out.
We got more people following or watching than we did when we first started. When we first started, we had like 5 or 7. Now we
Oh,
have 21. So thanks guys for jumping in and sticking
yeah.
around.
And remember to smash that like button.
Like the smash button, definitely.
Like the smash button.
Like that smash button. All 20 of you.
All right.
Unless
Yeah.
you dislike the show, in which case don't hit any buttons. No
Yeah.
buttons.
Hit no buttons. I mean, you're going to be poking my buttons by not touching any buttons, but
Exactly.
that's its own issue.
All right.
Looks like you guys are all good. Excellent.
This Sunday we have Atheist Underground. If you don't know, he's on TikTok. He's the older gentleman who does the train whistle. He's super fun. He's going to come on the show. And the following week, we are going to have Dr. Josh, who authored Atheist Guide to the Old Testament, which is, he has an audiobook that's narrated by Seth Andrews. I'm currently listening to it. I'm on like chapter 4.
Oh, good.
So yeah, and I figured I'm gonna try to have that finished by the time we have him on the show.
That, I mean, yeah, that would probably be a good idea.
Which I should have no problem
Next
doing.
D&D session. I think I have a session tomorrow, but that's for another campaign. So either way, it is
Dislikes
what it
are
is.
also good for the algorithm. Okay, well,
What kind of steel do you like to use when you make knives? Okay, so now the comment section's lighting up. They want to ask questions. What kind of steel do you use, Captain Dadpool?
Typically 1095 high carbon.
That's a good choice. That's a good choice.
It's the cheapest. It's like the most bang for your buck. It's the cheapest and the highest quality steel you can get. So that's usually what I work with.
Good deal. Well, everybody,
Yep.
it was nice chatting with you. We'll see you all on Sunday.
This was fun. Bye, guys. Good night.
Bye.
Or did it end? Nope, not yet. Okay, bye again. 'cause I hit